So let's talk about this trade again, the short side trade, and what I see right now. What I see at this point is what I call the 5. Right here could be offsetting volume against that high volume blue bar that came, that 20.2.9K volume bar. You see this? All this is above 500. If you add that up, it's 2.5K, and there's another one in there that's make it 3K. That offsets that 2.9K right there that came out prior. So they kind of sneak it in here. They snuck in their longs here. What I believe it ends up going to be becoming is a bear trap. And I'll be curious to see if we go up and push the 5993 area now. This ends up being a bear trap, because this volume right here, this red offsets. Now this one here is in the way a little bit, but that offsets that 3K volume bar. All right, I'm going to pause the video here. We'll see how this trade ends up. One thing I want to note though, as on one contract would have been pulled out here. This is what I talk about sometimes as far as my training goes. This is about the only time that I know of that warrants a 2 contract trade on highest volume bar that exceeds 2.5K or so. And you take a shot at it. Now you could stage it in if you wanted to, but it's best to just get in and take a shot at it, or just go one contract and see what happens with it. So it has not officially made 2P on the down trade, but there was 1P available a couple different times. Now this is a 10 tick stop from entry point, and this is the break even stop. Being able to trade 2 gives you the ability to allow that break even stop to work for you. That's the power of the break even. In the beginning of the trade, you're going to hold the high until obviously this gets done doing its business. So if we hold the high of 64, you net the difference between the two if it knocks you out. Trade's over. If you stay in the trade, you're obviously trying, well, not obviously, you've got one out right now and you're trying to catch the blue bar at some point in the trade. And we're not far enough away to start worrying about where should a stop be. So this is a 10 tick stop. Give yourself 10 ticks of profit. This would be like if you're only trading 1 at it. You're at a 10 tick profit on the trade. And this, if you're trading 2, you'd be up here on your entry point. Maybe, give yourself a tick at this point, a tick or 2, but pretty much you're sitting right on top of where your entry point is. You got 1 off it today at, what is that, 23, 22 ticks, and then you're going to be taking whatever this particular trade gives you at the end. All right, I'm going to pause here. All right, so let's talk about this trade. And it did hit 45 already, so if you're trading 1, I would assume you'd be out, but you'd like to stay in this one, you'd think, because of the lower high pattern that's formed here. But you're going to be a little bit more cautious now at this point, and let me tell you why. This is 1. Over here is 2. Here's 3. And this is 4 breaking out of here. So if you would, if I draw a trend line, which I'm going to just in a second here, what you're going to notice, I haven't put it on the chart yet, but I'm going to bet let's put it here for now and get rid of it. I need to see that next high. I'm going to put my bottom dollar on that if it goes above this trend line now after these 4 points of contact, that the short move is going to be over. And there it comes up here, right? I didn't plan this. I'm just telling you that I know, unfortunately, I know too much sometimes to my own detriment. So now the question is, how far should you be protecting that last contract right now? Because it's kind of proven to yourself that it doesn't want to get past this yet. It's been down there 3 different times. Now if it goes back there again, it probably breaks through and goes a lot lower. This one doesn't count because this is where the high comes in. So how many times did we get down here? 1, 2, 3. Now, if you traded 2 at it, I would argue that you just hold the 64 and force it to get higher. I mean, I guess you could come back and look at here, or look at here. So I believe it already run through that 50, 51. So I mean, you could go back to the last minor high and then add something to it, or just if you have the balls to hold it, you're able to trade 2. You already got 25 ticks on this one, and so you're only giving up at this point. You're only giving up 9 ticks of the 25. It's not that big of a deal to be able to hold this. Because you really, you're looking at volume on the other side right now. Now here's the 5 that we talked about right here, and it pittered itself out right here, and then came back down again. So that 5 is over. So then they're trying it again, and it fails. Tries it again, and now we're up here. So they have tried to support this right here 3 different occasions, right? So if it comes back down here to this point down here, it probably breaks through. This is probably a great place to sell again, to be honest. Anyway, volume is definitely slanted towards, I mean, they're trying to stop the downside onslaught. They're trying to buy it. I believe the swing top is in right now. You got 5993 yesterday, and you got 5964 today. It's going to take a lot of power to get above this. Be back. Okay, so three times down here, and it was able to break up and break through and get above that high. So we posted back here off that highest volume. So 64 was the high, and it was able to get to 73 right now and disprove this particular run. As far as down goes, it went as low as a 2p run to 59.12, just to it, not through it. So literally you could have, at this point, I would argue that that would be the measurement that you wanted to get the 1p out after you ran 2 on that. If you was running a second contract, or if you're only trading 1, that would be the mark that you wanted to get out. And then obviously it goes its own merry way here. What you're risking is this point here would have broke through and went on down. Very difficult trading one contract into something like this. Lot of harebrained, pulling your hair out. Which way is the market going to go? At some point you got to tell yourself, 4 points of contact, this move is probably over. This is 3. Here's your 4th point of contact. So that's where you got to tell yourself, 4 points of contact on this trend line. So that's a GAN signal going the other way, right? Telling you that the move's over. I would argue that once it busted over this level, which would be mid-range of, this is the high range of the highest volume bar from Wednesday's trading, but I'd argue over this level here, risking about your entry point. It's probably where you want to get out of this trade. Or right here was it touched the 4th time on this trend line, get out of it. Now we have another highest volume. Well, we have another volume bar here that this might be a re-entry point against this bar here. If you would go back and look at my video prior, this is the top of that range of that Wednesday, and this is your high, the high of the market itself. The high is definitely in play right now. I'd probably argue at this point in time, being so late in the trading day, I'd be cautious of taking anything on, and it would really come down to how much of a gain would I have if I would take on anything outside of this trade here, as it really didn't work out on the short side. It came all the way back to its entry point, or high previous, and went up to here, and this was, well, here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go back and look at, you remember why those lines are on. Let me show you again. You need to go back to the previous day at the 9:30 mark. Guess you could measure it from here. I'd argue that you want to measure it from right there. So this is your range. This is the low of the range. Here's your mid-range. Here's the high of that range. So it could be worth one more shorting opportunity at the top of the range of this blue bar right here, right? So there was some significance right here at the high of that. And it's kind of interesting how this is all holding. 59.13 to the high right there. This whole market is holding right now today. You see it's traded off to 73 a little bit. Well, it's going to do it for me for now. Be back.